What's up everyone? AJ here on Day Trader Boom or Bust. I apologize for all this fading into the background, but I didn't know before I started recording this that my outfit was going to do this. It is what it is. Guess it's a little psychedelic action going on. Now on the business of trading, today did not go as planned. I traded well to start the day and to end the day, and I definitely traded as a bit of a madman through the middle of the day. So, I think most importantly, the reason it happened was I came into the day much more focused on a target than I was on just trading well as I have been, and just staying focused on the process. So let's talk about what happened today. Here's the watch list that I post every morning between 9 a.m. and 9:15 a.m. on my Twitter. If you want to make sure to catch that, make sure to give me a follow at AJ Tabayan. So today was quite a low volume day, it seemed, and there were slim pickings in the pre-market. That's kind of to be expected on a Friday, and also because a lot of the institutional traders trading volume really hasn't come back into the market yet. We will expect that to be a lot better next week. So today on the primary watch list, I had AAPL and mRNA and Piton all as continuation plays on just based off of their recent movements, and I also had DKNG, which was I guess a bit of a continuation play, and also based off of the daily. On secondary, I had Lulu, Baba, BBig, and Mara. So the madman trading I was talking about definitely put me over, put me into over trading territory. I took 17 trades today, as you can see here, and so let's just quickly jump into it. I started the day with a trade on Baba, and that particular trade was actually an error. I use hotkeys to execute my trades, and I had my hands on the trigger, so to speak, on this particular trade, and unfortunately, and I have a great keyboard. It's a mechanical keyboard. It's very sensitive, but because of that, unfortunately, if I get a little twitchy, this happens, and I ended up entering this trade quite early because I was going to wait for it to break below this 1 minute. I was going to wait for the 1 minute bar to finish and then enter if it broke below this. But as soon as I entered, I also got a bad fill. I immediately got out, and I did lose a very, very small amount, 0.1 R on slippage. But that was the first trade of the day. My second trade of the day was on mRNA. This one was a little bit disappointing, simply because so what it was here is, this is a 1 minute ORB. It threw this candle here, but then seemed to fail to break above the pre-market high. And when it pushed below this 200 SMA and below the opening price, as you can see, I went short. And I know mRNA, and it can be quite volatile, and even more so at the open. And also it can have quite a big spread, and you can suffer from slippage. So I was very aggressive with moving my stop loss here. So my original stop loss was quite a ways off. It was I think the top of the wick of this candle, or just above pre-market high here. You can see that it went in my direction, so I had immediately moved my stop loss to I think just above the 50 SMA here, or sorry, I moved to the top of the body of this candle. Maybe that was a little too aggressive. Maybe I should have kept it above the opening price. My profit target was right around this level here. So you can see it came, oh man, it was about 1.6 R at this point. And as volatile as this gets, it came all the way back up and stopped me out, you know, and I ended up taking, and even with that, that was, my stop loss was at less than 50% R, or 0.5 R of a loss, but I still ended up taking 3/4 of an R loss just on slippage, and that's what can happen on mRNA. And it was disappointing because you can see it immediately waterfalled after that, and it would have easily took out my 2R profit target, and you know, but you know, I'm not going to be too disappointed with that. That happens. I was managing risk at that stage because I'd already made an error on Baba, and I didn't want to make more of an error. I had no reason to believe that this was going to come all the way back to me, but you know, that's the nature of what can happen, particularly with a volatile stock like mRNA. My next trade was on Piton, and Piton and I really you know, had trouble today. This is where I totally you know, kind of lost it today. Not at this point yet, but we'll get to that. So Piton, as you can see, really made a strong move up. There was a lot of news on it, and you know, it was definitely strong for the day. But you can see that a lot of volume. It threw this upside down hammer with a lot of volume here, and then, you know, it tried to push up on less volume as it tried to move up here, and then it threw a ton of volume on this, you know, as an anomaly on this very small candle. So at that point, I was kind of looking at this level here, and you can see I got in a little bit early, but I really felt that there was going to be a decent pullback on this. Unfortunately, it held at this level. I probably should have got out of the trade at that point, but I held on to this because, you know, I think a little bit some residue from that mRNA trade, because you know, I wouldn't have got stopped out on that one. So instead of moving this one closer for less risk, unfortunately, I took a full 1R loss. Actually, I took a 1.1R loss on this due to slippage, as Piton can also have a sizable spread sometimes. So unfortunately, that was a loser. And before I got onto the crazy trading on Piton, I did take a trade on Apple, and this one, you know, this one went well. Let's just move this over here. So I was watching Apple. Let's jump to the 5-minute. I think this might be a little bit more visible on the 5-minute chart. Let's zoom in here. So on Apple, sorry for it getting squished, but unfortunately when it throws these big candles, it does happen. Maybe it's better to go off the 1 minute. So here you can see that this is pre-market high right here. This is opening price, and you can see that the bottom of this candle is around this level. It bounced off this level, and it definitely seemed to have trouble up here at R4. So it was kind of consolidating in this area, and I was watching it. I actually thought I was going to wait for it to come down and maybe you know, test pre-market high here a couple of times, you know, on a slow move down. But you can see it through this big candle. It was on quite low volume, but I really felt that if it pierced below this pre-market high, I was going to give it a shot at coming low, because I did see that there were bids on the L2, and I thought that it was a little bit weak. So I did go short, and as you can see, this trade immediately worked out and quickly hit my 2R profit target right there. So that was a winning trade, and at that point, that put me just slightly in the green after those first few losing trades. And I was looking for some opportunities. At this point, I was actually thinking, you know what, if I can just get another winner maybe, and you know, well, it's Friday. we'll call it a day. And I took a look at Piton once again. There was a lot of consolidation going on, and I just really wasn't able to get a good feel on what the moves were going to be on some other tickers that I on my watch list. But Piton, because it had a lot of volume, coming in, and it had an really aggressive move up, I was watching it for a potential pullback. That initial trade over here obviously was a failed pullback, and you can see that I waited for some time before I even considered a trade on Piton, because that trade on Apple took place. Let me just check here. That trade on Apple took place at around just after 10 a.m. I did get all out around 10:40, around there. So I didn't take another trade on Piton till, as you can see here, at around 11:30. So let's just move this over here. And I took a trade. I think at this point, maybe because I was waiting a bit and I really didn't see much going on in the market, which I should really expect on a Friday. I really need to know that, especially in these low volume markets, I need to wait for obvious setups, and this was not one of them. It was an upside down hammer, but there was no. This is decreasing volume here. So it really, when there's decreasing volume, generally you don't really expect it to move much in one direction or the other. You expect this, a consolidation, and that's what it did. I went short here, obviously got stopped out, and because I was focused, as I mentioned in the intro, on a target, this put me in the red after just getting back into the green, and I really felt that my emotions start to roll in, but I wasn't smart enough to stop myself from kind of losing control. And unfortunately, I continued now to trade this, and just kind of, you can see all these trades here. I can't really explain most of them. Some maybe could be kind of justified, but all of this nonsense right in around up to here was just nonsensical, and unnecessary. You can see that really really hurt my P&L. Oh, sorry, just jump back here. You can see here that there was all these trades on Piton, all these red trades on Piton, a couple that were kind of break even. Just that was that whole area there that was just, like I said, nonsensical. Just didn't make any sense. But I then I did finally see a really clear opportunity. You can see this large volume candle ate up a lot of asks that were on the top side, and then it threw this semi-hammer candle on higher than average volume, and there was now an opportunity here. And if you look on the 1 minute chart, just clear this out, and if you look on the 1 minute, what happened at this area? So what I saw here was, you saw this push up, and then it threw this indecision kind of candle, and then it threw this engulfing candle, and that for me tends to be a good indicator of a potential pullback or reversal. So I went short, and unfortunately it bounced off of the 20 SMA, stopped me out here. This trade, I was already kind of emotional, so this one probably shouldn't have happened at all. But when it consolidated in this area and it touched and pushed back below the 20, I got short here. I honestly really can't say that this was the greatest of trades either, because I just don't feel that a lot of these trades that I was doing on Piton were very well thought out. But I got lucky on this one, and it did eventually go. This one did go in my direction. I ended up taking a partial here after they crossed the 100 SMA here on the 1 minute. Took another partial. Oh, actually, I got all out over here. I didn't know it was going to keep running, but that was my profit target, and I got out there, and I managed just a little bit better than 2R here, maybe 2.2R, 2.1, 2.2R. So that one kind of just made the hole I dug myself in smaller. And to be quite honest with you, I think that put me at, so I was actually, with all this stupid trading, I was at over max loss, which in and of itself is horrible. And this put me at about 2R in the red for the day. And I was calling it for a day at that point, and was just watching the markets to get an idea of how it might close and maybe have an idea how it might open next week. And as I was watching it, there really weren't many opportunities. Towards the end of the day, though, the market really started to get weak. And I was actually watching Lululemon, which was one of the strong movers today, aside from Piton. And as you can see here, it was pushing up, and I felt that at this level it definitely started to have some trouble. And as we zoom in here, it kind of threw this double top, and I thought, okay, this might have an opportunity to go short. As you can see, this is R4, and I felt if it pushed below there that it could really have a significant pullback, because it was really extended from VWAP. So I went short there. I was planning on this to be just a scalp. I didn't know how far it was gonna pull back, and I gave this a ton of room, because I think my stop loss was almost at high of day here, or probably was. So this was I think 90 cents. So I needed it to move over like $2 to get 2R, and I just didn't know if it was going to do that this late in the day on a Friday. So I managed to get a partial here, which was just over 1R, and then it really pushed down towards this 200 SMA. I took a couple more partials there, and at that point, after those two partials, I had about 25%, maybe 20% of my position remaining, and I felt that this was a bonus trade, because like I said, I was going to not take any more trades for the day. So my stop loss was here at break even, and I felt if it came back there, I was out. But I felt that there was a huge opportunity for it to really sell off if it broke this 200 SMA. And as you can see, it came back up here, kissed the 50 SMA, and then really started to sell off. And the other thing that gave me a little bit more confidence that this might sell off, although it was trying to buck the trend here, is the entire market had we were having a full market sell-off into the close, and so I really thought there was a good chance. And it came here. I stopped out right over here. I should have waited a little bit more, because the entire market was selling off, but at this point, like I said, I felt, you know what, a winner's a winner. I didn't want to see it come all the way back up on me, so I got out, and I managed to get 1.6, 1.7 R off that trade, and that put me, when it was all said and done, as you can see here on the P&L, that put me at I think this is 0.6 or maybe 0.7 R in the red for the day, which was a far cry better than where I was. And I think that I managed to do that because the last couple of trades, I had my head screwed on straight a little bit better. I had emotionally got over all that stupidness I did at the beginning, but nonetheless, I'm a little disappointed at my performance and how I ended the week. But with that said, look, I'm not going to cry about a day that I was able to salvage. minus in the red. 0.7R is a solid end to the week considering where I was midway through the day. And overall on the entire week, I think I'm up about 6R for the week. So considering the up and down weeks I've had the last 4 or 5 weeks, that's a win for me. And now hopefully we can see a little bit more volume coming in next week, and we can continue really solid trading and have some decent wins. So that's it. That's all for this recap. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you had a really good trading day. I hope you have an awesome weekend and get yourself prepared for an awesome week next week. So thanks so much again for tuning in. This is AJ on Day Trader Boomer Bust, signing out. Cheers.